Two friends meet up to drink some beers and talk about past times. Not yesterday, but long ago, it's scandals, wars, and crimes. From Stalin's reign to Prohibition, Tudors, Pompey, Bush, and NASA's mission, Edison's spoke, Genghis Khan's rise to victory. Forget your old teacher, it's time for pint-sized history.
Hi there, and welcome to the Pint-Sized History Podcast. I'm Joe.
And I'm Zack.
And we're here today to talk about Rasputin. Isn't that right?
We usually are a bit coy about the start, about what we're talking about. But I'm glad you've taken it upon yourself. And this is not the first time we've done this.
We need to be quicker.
You've come in previously on my episodes and told everyone, obviously we say every week they can see the thumbnail, but this is not the first time you've done that. You've taken my steam. But I'll just...
What steam?
Okay.
Sorry, what steam are you talking about?
There was a certain man in Russia long ago. He was big and strong, and his eyes are flaming go. You get what I'm saying. Do you want to join in? Do you want to sing a little bit?
I don't know the lyrics, man.
I know the lover of the Russian queen. There was a cat that really was gone. Yes, we're talking about Rasputin today. But before we talk about Rasputin, let's talk about our sponsor. Joe, who are they?
Well, it says here, Crate Brewery, so I imagine it's them. Is it not?
It is. But...
yeah, it's Crate Brewery. Thanks, Crate, once again, as always, for sponsoring our podcast. I'm having a hazy IPA today.
You're having a hazy?
Yeah.
I'm having a hazy too.
Oh, a hazy day for the two
But
of
I'm having
us.
a hazy more than you, I think.
Why? Why does it have to be competitive?
I don't know.
What the fuck?
I've got two older brothers, so I think that's why. You are an only child, Joe. So if you didn't know that about Joe, it's one thing that makes him very sad.
It's sad. Yeah, you mug me off. It's not sad.
He really wanted siblings, and my brothers don't actually listen to this podcast, so it tells you what.
Well,
great...
Neither of them listen to the pod.
No, they watch.
And you're telling me my siblings are good.
My dad listens to every episode, which I like.
Hey, kid.
Yeah. Right, we are talking today. Oh, sorry. And if you want to get your hands on a nice Crate Brewery beer, go to the website, cratebrewery.com, and type in pint-size 15 at checkout. That's PINT-SIZED 15.
Do you think anyone that listens to us can't spell? Because you always spell it out for them.
Do you count as listener?
Yeah, no.
This hazy's delicious, by the way. Right, so we're talking today about Rasputin. And obviously he's really famous because of the song that Boney M had, Rasputin. That's why everyone knows him.
Is that why everyone knows him?
Everyone knows Rasputin because of Boney M's song. I'm pretty sure. I feel like
that's a statement.
I feel like that's probably where the majority of his fame comes from. The best line from the song that really surmises Rasputin's life is
"Lover of the Russian Queen."
When we don't know about that.
Come on.
When his drinking and his lusting and his hunger for power became known to more and more people, the demands to do something about this outrageous man became louder and louder.
Hey. That's how the song continues after that. Yeah, he says that bit. And then
I don't know how that bit goes.
Yeah, it's because he says it instead of singing it. Yeah, it's like the music goes down a bit and he goes, "There's lust for power," and blah, blah.
And I think I'm going to struggle as well with like historical accuracy this episode. It is...
a lot of guesswork.
We like to say we're history enthusiasts. We're amateurs.
Yeah.
But this is... There are so many conflicting accounts of what Rasputin's life was and whether he was just like... Which is like really commonly believed, this like sex-crazed sex addict who was fucking everyone in the imperial palace. He was shagging the Tsarina. But like that's debated. We don't know like really much about him. There are very, very few records about his life.
It's a lot of like myth and
really
story. It's like it's the fantasy of if it was true or not.
Yeah, I think I'll stick mostly to the fantasy because the fantasy is like it could be real, and also it's like really
we're just prefacing by saying a lot of this we don't know for sure. It's just that this is kind of what people have presumed to be real, and then there's just some really cool. I mean, he's a very weird figure. It's like this godly presence,
super strange. So Rasputin is known for being this like religious leader / like healer / wanderer, advisor to the Tsar of Russia. Did you just do the spectacles, testicles, wallet, watch?
Yeah. Because he's an Orthodox Christian, no?
Yes, he's an Orthodox Christian, which is very different from normal Christianity.
Yes.
It's not the same thing.
No.
I don't know why.
The Great Schism.
The Eastern Roman Empire.
Exactly.
Besides being this healer and this wanderer and this like really famous sort of, they call it Stranics, which is like wanderers in Russia. Besides being that, He had this position of like great influence in the Russian royal family between the years of 1905 and 1916, which, if anyone's aware of Russian history, it's a really, really unstable, important time for both Russia and the world.
I think that part of what adds to his legend is he kind of turns up. I don't know, because he's a peasant, right? He's like a serf, a Russian serf.
Basically the biggest rags to riches story ever.
In the time where like a big moment, in one of the biggest moments in Russia's history is about to
in world
take
history,
place.
maybe.
In world history, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, as Joe said, he's gone from being this peasant in Siberia. He's not a serf. There's no serfs in Siberia. From being just a peasant in Siberia to being one of the potentially, if you take like the fantastical element of it, the most powerful man in Russia, which is debated.
Yeah. But well, I'd like to believe so.
And it's a mind-blowing story.
He's just
about
so
how
handsome.
He is. You think he's handsome?
No. If you're looking at the visual podcast and Alfie hasn't fucked this up, then you'll see behind me Rasputin. And sorry,
Poor Alf's catching strings.
And as you can see behind, I mean, I might actually just put it up so you can see the picture a bit better on the thing. But yeah, as you can see, he's quite a creepy looking man with those big beady eyes. But maybe that was what enchanted people to him, was that kind of intense stare.
We'll fucking talk about that. But okay. Absolutely. His weird, the weird way he looks is like certainly a factor in how he got so famous and shagged so many women. So let's start with his beginnings. He's born in Pokrovskoy. Pokrovsky.
Okay.
In the Tobolsk Governorate in what was then the Russian Empire. And I've almost certainly mispronounced that entire thing. Yeah. So this is the Russian Empire before it becomes the Soviet Union, before Lenin seizes power in 1917. Very different place from the Russia we know today. Actually, Russia today is quite similar to the Russian Empire back then.
That's exactly what Vlad wants to hear. Holy shit, Putin's listening to this podcast going, fucking just get in there. Fuck, come on.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Putin is like a intensely, obviously nationalistic and imperialistic Russian, but like his desire is like spreading the Russian Empire again as wide as it once was, like taking off Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia.
Well, he probably
wants Finland and Sweden as well. He wants to go all the way back.
Yeah, he wants that. He wants that empire to return. He just wants as big a buffer as he can from Moscow to anywhere that is possibly dangerous to him.
But if he takes Ukraine, there's no buffer between Russia and NATO.
I guess it would be a first domino in that sense. It's like they've got the most amount of people that are part Russian themselves on the fast border anyway, and of course it's the bread
it's
basket.
It's
a lot of food and stuff and all that.
Yeah,
jazz.
bread basket of Europe. Didn't you say that?
I literally just said that. Yeah.
You just said that.
Yeah, it was like the bread basket and all that.
Oh, right. The Russian Empire is one of the most major powers in Europe at the time.
What time is this, Zach?
This is the early 20th century.
I can't do maths.
Late
What's
19th
that?
Century. It's like this period is from when Rasputin's born, 1860 to roughly like
1860. Wait, he was born in 1860.
He is born in.
I guess we probably don't know his exact age. But I thought he was younger when he reached the Tsars.
He's born in 1869 and he reaches the Tsar's palace in like 1905. So this is about 180 years ago, 160 years ago.
Yeah. But the time where he reaches the court is like the
120 years ago.
1910s, right?
Yeah.
Is when he's
110 years ago.
So the moment that this guy becomes like world famous is in the 1910s, and that time is obviously very important because it's the time of World War One.
Yep.
And in this story, the Russian Revolution.
Yep. And Europe at this time it's still like there's monarchies everywhere. You got like UK, Russia, I think Spain, Germany.
Yep.
And do you know what's very interesting about all these monarchies? You know this.
They're all married to each other.
They're all related, yeah.
Would I say this in the song?
You have, yeah, you did say it,
they're all related because Queen Victoria basically married every single child or relative she had to other monarchs, so that she was basically like the mother hen of the entire continent of Europe.
Absolutely same, yeah.
Which is why the Russian Tsar and the English king and the German Kaiser are all related. I think they're all related by like cousin or second cousin.
Yeah, so
they look identical basically.
Yeah, King George V of Britain, Kaiser Wilhelm II, and Tsar Nicholas II of Russia are all related. Wilhelm and George are first cousins. George and Nicholas are first cousins, and Wilhelm and Nicholas are third cousins.
Yeah, and they look really similar. Like when you look at a photo of them, they genuinely look like brothers. And interestingly, I saw this when I mentioned gags in our previous podcast, my grandmother. The last time I was
gags.
The last time, what the fuck? Did you just pretend I was like gurgling my grandmother?
Yeah, no,
what
I was saying she's gagging.
She's gagging. What the?
I did
what
this.
the
I
fuck?
did this last episode.
Nah, you're cancelled. You're cancelled.
Wait, did you
did that on the last
Did
episode?
you hear me? I did it last episode.
Did you? I must have blocked it out in the days since we filmed the last. I don't remember you googling for gags.
Yeah, gagging for the.
Oh, that's actually so wrong.
Yeah,
bro.
right. Gagg's a lovely woman. I don't actually.
You've not met her.
No,
And you
lovely
never
woman.
fucking will after you pretend she's gurgling on cock, you absolute sycophant prick. What's wrong with you, man?
Joe-
You think she's fucking saving old women in the Blitz, and you're out there going, gobble, gobble, gobble. What the fuck?
Joe really, really loves his grandma. So that is hard.
doesn't?
That is really hard ground.
If
for
you
me
mention
to, like,
your
make a
grandmother,
joke
I'm going to
about.
start going gobble, gobble. Like,
My grandma's dead, Joe. Come on, man. Don't.
Oh, yeah. See,
What,
yeah, see how it feels?
Gobbling in the grave.
Gobbling in the grave. That's how far we've come.
Oh,
3
fuck
seasons
me.
and you're now talking about gobbling in the grave.
Yeah.
Anyway, point being of that was I was saying, what the actual fuck, by the way. The point I was making about that was, when I went to Gags's recently, I looked at some old photo albums of hers, and her granddad, so my great-great-granddad, looks identical to the Russian Tsar
Really?
and the English king.
Is he a what's the royal family called? They're like the
And Gag said he was adopted. I think she said that. I might have got that wrong.
not Carlings, not quite Carling.
Yeah, the Carling family, something
Is
like
it
that.
Carling?
I can't remember, but it made me wonder. Like, maybe I'm actually like the fucking one true heir to the Russian Tsar. maybe it's me.
You do look a bit like the royal family. You got sort
Thanks,
of
man.
like the.
Inbredness.
Yeah.
Sorry, Will.
So Rasputin, back to him anyway. He's born into the Russian Empire in an area of what was commonly referred to as Siberia. Do you know much about Siberia?
Yeah, it's cold.
Very cold. Yeah, it's basically it's like enormous landmass of the whole of eastern Russia. So it's basically everything from the Urals, which is a line of mountains going down basically like the center left of Russia, all the way to the end of Russia, like where Vladivostok is, which is basically like bordering China.
So there's nothing after Siberia. It literally goes from Siberia's like from that coast all the way to the mountains.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Wow.
It's an enormous place. It's basically like probably a good percent of the world's landmass. It's like 10% maybe, something
It
like
must
that.
be such a lonely area as well. You're so far
Yeah.
put away from everything, so cold. That's where all the gulags would have been during World War II and
I
stuff.
didn't realize. I thought there was less in Siberia, but there are like towns.
Oh, yeah, there's
and
big- there'll
villages,
be big towns,
because I
yeah.
think Siberia is the most resource.
But it'll be concentrated, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the wilderness will be so cold, like
So it's the most like,
difficult to live there.
resource-rich area in the world, Siberia. So I think there are like industrial complexes to like mine these resources and like get them out of the ground and stuff like that in Siberia. So there's you need certain villages and towns and citizenship and civilization there. And he's born in this place called Pokrovsky.
Okay.
That's where Rasputin is from. He's basically in line with where the Urals start with meet Siberia. So he's just about the beginning of Siberia, just underneath the Ural Mountains. He's born on the 21st January 1869, born to Yefim, a peasant farmer and church elder, and Anna Parshukova. Importantly, Rasputin's parents have 7 children, and he is the only one that survives into his adulthood.
Wow.
Which like already starts like pushing out this idea that he's this miracle baby. And he's like he's got a religious dad, and he himself is like a miracle. Everyone else dies. He's got like a 10% chance of living, and Rasputin, against all odds, survives and does it. It's pretty crazy living in choosing to live in Siberia, where it's like so.
Did they choose? I mean, it's probably just generations that passed down, and they don't decide to move. It's not.
Well, so I think Siberia is the only place where you're not a serf if you're a peasant in Russia. And serfs are basically they're like owned.
Also,
they're slave serfs.
Also, if what you just said is true, that Siberia literally just goes from the coast to the Ural Mountains, then in reality, like, sure, you could travel, but you could travel for hundreds of miles and you'll still be in Siberia. So it's not like you're going to be changing much in your life anyway. You'd have to literally make the choice, I'm going to leave the Russian Empire and move to a different part of the world, which I'm sure some did. But, to say like, oh, I'm surprised people would choose to live there. It's like, well, the average citizen of that time probably wouldn't.
They could just live in like Moscow or like St.
Well, just
Petersburg.
travel across the Ural Mountains. How much money do you think they have?
Because they can go around the Urals. You don't have to go through them. You can
Yeah,
go
but unless
below
they
them.
have got money, they're not going to, they're not going to migrate that way.
Well, I mean, this is exactly what Rasputin does. Rasputin is a wanderer.
Yeah, and he's special.
He's really special.
He's a special guy.
Almost too special, I think.
Yeah, look at those eyes.
Back to Rasputin. So very little is known about his youth. There's very few records, as you expect growing up in Siberia. There's no town hall where you get your archives and records of when you were born and what you did in your life.
Yeah.
They have like police reports, and some police reports suggest that he was like a horse thief. And apparently he's like a bit of an alcoholic and mischievous.
Who wasn't?
Yeah, I mean,
seriously, who wasn't? The
It's
vodka issue in Russia at that time for generations was absolutely awful.
Yeah.
It's like basically like I think the story of Russian vodka is like the imperial family, the Tsars, would buy all the farms that would create potatoes to make vodka, and in the process would essentially hold the monopoly on it and then distribute it at a really cheap price to subdue the masses. And it basically created this.
Really?
Yeah, it created
Alcoholic
this
society.
insane alcoholic society,
Really?
which they then, over the Soviet Russia, slowly tried to take it back piece by piece.
I'm sorry, that stereotype has not left them.
Well, I know. I mean, well, the stereotype might still be there, but in comparison to the past, Russia has really dealt. I mean, it's still a problem. But, you know, every country has substance problems. It's just that, but compared to what it was like during those times, it is way better. It's a really interesting story.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's not. There are obviously lots of stories about substance and, you know, countries using it to their advantage, but this is a really, really interesting, I guess, iconic one because vodka is so entwined with what people think about when they think about
right?
with Russia. So yeah, it's really really interesting.
Now it's crocodile.
Is it?
I don't think so. Vice did a documentary on it in like 2010 or something.
Yeah, every nation's got
everyone in Russia is on crocodile, which is like
I doubt that. I doubt that. But you know, every country's got problems.
Yep. What's our problem?
Don't get me started, man. Jesus Christ.
I'll tell you what.
That Jet 2 holiday advert, that's the first thing that we've got a problem with. That fucking advert needs to get in the bin. Like,
I'll tell you what the issue is. It's those Italians coming over.
Oh, no.
Trying to work their way in.
Woo these English men. My girlfriend's in the next room listening in and says Zach's making a personal attempt to antagonise her.
Yeah, she's probably not listening, but...
no, why would she?
It's believed that Rasputin has no formal education. He can't read or write, basically. He's from the doldrums of Siberia. There's no schooling, basically. Oh. Maybe there is a school, like a little nursery or something, but I don't think there's any formal education.
Yeah, not in the same way.
Despite this, I still think, based on the actions that he takes throughout his life and the opportunities that come to him, he must be intelligent. Yeah, but not in
some capacity.
Not in an academic. I think he's a really socially deductive.
Yeah,
and very charismatic, and that's a different type of intelligence. I think you can be
emotional intelligence.
Yeah, but at the same time, I really question whether he is emotionally intelligent at all. And we'll figure out as we go through this.
Well, am I right in thinking that one of his main attributes is he's quite arrogant?
Sort of, yeah. Like, he's not really... It's really hard to define Rasputin. He's a really multifaceted person. He's super complex. Like, you don't really know what drives him and what interests him. Undeniably, sex plays a part. He's quite... A lot of his life is focused around that. Religion seems to play a part. To what extent he manufactured his interest in religion to get as far as he did in society is another question. So... There's always ulterior beliefs and motives about what Rasputin wanted and what he wanted to do. So it's hard to pin him down, but he is able to go from the status in Russian society of being a fucking nobody to being crazily influential. So that in itself is probably testament to him being at least slightly intelligent. Definitely, probably you're right to say emotionally intelligent.
Yeah,
but
that's the impression I get anyway.
Yeah.
To be able to trick that many people into believing you're an angelic figure that can solve, you know. And
he makes some great decisions along the way, like that require like some serious intelligence to make. Like, getting a bit ahead here, but like Alexei, the son of the Tsarina, has hemophilia, which is like a disease where when you bleed profusely, and when you get hit, you have internal bleeding. It's like, they'd call it a bleeder, basically, I guess. It's a bit precarious.
It does sound a little bit dodgy, yeah. But that is what it's right. That is it,
and he, against all the like doctors' advice at the time, seems to like have consistently worked out what was best for Alexei. So like, you know, he does better than what doctors with formal education are doing for this particular person.
Yeah.
So
I'm quite skeptical about what doctors' interpretations of health is at that time anyway.
Yeah,
I'm sure, I mean, obviously it'll be better
1900s
it'll be better than the average person you'd hope. But I imagine there's a lot, like, you know, hearing the stories of like some of the cures they thought actually helped when really it was just doing more damage and pretty ridiculous. But
so let's proceed with the story. So in 1887, Rasputin travels to Abalak. It's a small village with about 800 people, still in the same sort of area in Siberia. Today it's 800 people. Back then it could have been very, very way fewer. His initial village, Pokrovsky, has about 2,000 people there. Really tiny villages in the edge of Siberia. And he meets a peasant named Praskovia Dubrovina. He marries her, and he has 7 children with her. He's floating around Siberia a few years until 1897, and he suddenly decides that he's really interested in religion. And he decides to leave his village and go on a pilgrimage. So historians tend to think that his decision to leave his village and go on a pilgrimage was because he had some sort of mental breakdown. And I think when you're faced with the reality that he's facing, which is like this fucking boring, dull life in Siberia, and you think you're maybe a bit like outside the box and a bit intuitive and slightly charismatically gifted, slightly more intelligent, maybe you'd be thinking, what is this life? This is shit. Of course I'm going to get the fuck out of here and go to like a different village.
He's clearly ambitious. There's no way he's not. To make the steps he makes.
A miracle baby too.
Yeah.
You know, he was the only child that survived when others around him died. Yeah. And he's tall and quite good looking, I guess, by some standards. So he's probably thinking, I can get out there and get some tail.
Is he?
Yeah. Actually, please cover him your head. I can't look at him.
Can you not see him?
It's so intense for me, honestly.
I can see him. He's literally right above you.
I do not like it.
He's staring into my soul.
So yeah, he's thinking, fuck this. What is this shit village? I've got this wife, 7 kids, so many dependencies. This is a bit of a shit life. I'm getting the hell out of here. And he does. He leaves.
Slay.
Do you reckon that's what he's thinking? Slay.
Yeah.
And he goes to visit a monastery, and this experience completely transforms him, and he finds God.
Oh,
he says he finds God.
I wish.
Have you found God yet?
Not in that way. I need to go on a pilgrimage, really, to
Where
find
you go
God.
to?
Well, I reckon I'm like 60% to my
But you've been
God
to the
finding.
Vatican.
Yeah. That's number one.
You've been there.
But I haven't been to Jerusalem.
Yeah, but Jerusalem is it's a Jewish place.
Excuse me.
And a Muslim
the birth
place.
of Christ.
The Christians made Jerusalem a Christian place.
Yeah.
But it's not a Christian place.
Yeah.
No,
what's the number one religion in the world?
Yeah.
We made everywhere a Christian
Interestingly, though,
place, brother.
Judaism is older than both Christianity and Islam. Sorry.
Do you want an award for your oldest religion?
Well, no, I'm just saying, you guys sold it better.
Yeah.
I recently watched
It's not my fault you've got a communications problem. Get over it.
Jews have always had communications problems.
Jesus Christ. Like the fucking Black Death. Even before that.
Even after that as well. Yeah. Pretty much all the time.
Pretty much all the time.
The Romans didn't like us.
No. Why didn't the Romans like you? What were you doing wrong to the Romans? Rats?
Our ratty ways.
I'm trying to think what it would have been, because the Romans were pretty cool. Me and Beef watched Gladiator 2. Yeah, what? Sorry, whoa. Of course the Romans are cool.
They did a lot. What did the Romans ever do for us?
The aqueduct. Mate, the Romans are so cool, man. The Romans are right up there. Me and B watched Gladiator 2 yesterday, which is awful. Don't watch it. Well, I do because it's fun, but don't watch it. Yeah, you definitely get the impression that the Romans are cool. Better than the Jews.
Jesus, man, what the hell? Rasputin finds God in this monastery, and he becomes a Stranic, which is it's a wanderer. They basically just travel across Russia and preaching. He does this for years.
Nice.
And when he's doing this, he hooks up with the Clistes, or the Clists. And they're another they're quite a fanatic Orthodox subsect. Okay. And apparently what the Clists do, so this is the Orthodox subsect, they sneak off to a cellar of a peasant lodge, they have a little dance, and they'll get really horned up. And then they start chanting louder and louder, doing their dancing, until it culminates into a massive orgy.
Wow.
And they just shag each other until the morning, because they're not allowed to go home at night because it looks a bit too sus. So they just dance and chant until morning, shagging away with one another.
Nice.
And then they just F off home.
Nice.
That's what Rasputin's doing. I think most of them at the time are
That's
gay.
what all of us are doing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Last night was a bit of that.
Oh, were you?
No.
Oh.
And I think a lot of the time these clips are men, so it's like quite homoerotic. It's men having sex with other men, which seems to be like
But that's cool.
acceptable.
Yeah,
I guess.
good for them. I mean, that's their head of the times. That wasn't cool till like the 90s.
But they are living in Siberia, and there's nothing to do there, so you would just shag other men.
That's a claim. That is quite a claim.
So now Rasputin's developing a name for himself around Siberia. I don't know if it's to do with him being a great shagger at these Klist dances.
You'd hope so.
And he travels to Kazan in 1904, which is like probably the first memorable or recognizable name that I mentioned throughout this episode. And he's being figured very quickly as this sort of healer. There's reports of him kind of like stepping out and being not one of the other Stranics, being a mysterious and kind of interesting figure.
He's got the drugs, basically.
Fun?
What you're saying is he's got the drugs.
He's got the drugs.
Yeah, they're all out having their fun times, and then they go, fuck, my
I'm running
cocaine is running low. I need some shit. So where's he gone? He's like out there fucking aura farming in a robe, just looking out the sunset. And you go, Rasputin, I need some more, man. What you got for me? He's like, my child. And he just take a look, and he just opens up this jacket, and it's just full of all the best narcotics you could get. And he goes, "Oh, I'll take that and that. Fantastic. Now go, go and be free."
Yeah, he's just a drug.
That's
dealer.
what I get.
He's a drug dealer.
But he's like a aura farming drug dealer. He's like the kind that like want to be really cool.
Yeah,
You know,
why
that's
not?
what I'm getting.
Why not? Let's go with that.
Honestly,
Sure.
I'm thinking about it. Is there any information about drugs and Rasputin? There must be some, right?
I would say.
Surely this
I would
is-
say the Clisties probably do a fair bit of shrooms. They strike me as shroom people.
But I just mean, like, is there no like talk about substances with Rasputin?
He drinks. He's known to love a drink.
I bet there's drugs involved. I bet there is. There's got to be some sort
don't
of
know,
drugs
like, to
because
what
that's
extent-
where people get this kind of mystical
But
figure.
to what
right?
extent is like drugs widely available? Because they're all synthetic, most of them, right?
I bet you can find them.
Or weed, maybe, and like
I bet there's surely you can find them, man.
maybe you can find coke, maybe.
It probably won't be the same definition of drugs we consider drugs today, but it will be
Yeah.
some sort
Not
of
really LSD.
synthetic, different, some hallucinogenic or whatever. Surely,
Yeah.
like Rasputin, when you get this kind of ridiculous figure that seems to be, he's like godlike and stuff. Surely there's got to be some like he gives you some fucking LSD on the side, and so you just kind of treat him as if he's this. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
I had such a spiritual experience of it.
Yeah.
He just popped a
And
tab in
in
your
reality,
mouth.
yeah, exactly. It's like nothing to do with spirituality. He's literally just fucking
Yeah,
drugging
fair
you.
enough. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, that probably did happen.
I reckon
maybe like
so.
ayahuasca, because they've been smoking ayahuasca for years, right?
I mean, I don't want to ruin the story of Rasputin by just saying he's a
He's a
drugger,
drugger,
but
yeah.
I reckon there's more to it. That's all I'm saying. And that's
Nice
not a bad thing. Good for him. It's like the 60s.
Nice take.
Thanks.
So when he's in Kazan, we're back to Kazan in 1904, and there's already like reports swirling that he is a bit of a philanderer. Is that the right word for it? He fucks around a lot. Like apparently, he starts getting a bit of a following, and the religious leaders there start hearing reports that he's shagging his followers.
Wow.
so Rasputin's already.
That would get you cancelled for most of the modern day.
Not then though, because the religious leaders like the cut of his jib. They like that he's shagging around, and they recommend him to go to St. Petersburg and
Shag there.
the Russian capital. Of the time. They just think he's so interesting. Like, let's send him off there. Let's get him to meet some
top
archbishops.
shaggers.
Yeah, he meets an archbishop there. They hit it off and become friends. And this guy that he meets,
the archbishop, they shag.
yeah, they're probably shagging. Yeah, they're all shagging. He meets Archimandrite Theophan, who is an archbishop in St. Petersburg.
And they shag.
And Theophan introduced him to all these like saloons and pubs and like spots where all the aristocracy are meeting, and from that he starts going around, shaking hands and taking names and developing his mysterious sort of like presence even more. Like he's just like a social butterfly right now. He's getting introduced to this guy who's more superior than that guy, and they're meeting these group of nobles, and he's wowing people with his skill, his natural charisma and talent. And he's just sort of like really endearing himself to this aristocracy at the time. The aristocracy are really into like the occult because they're very bored in general for some reason.
Interesting.
Like you imagine the European aristocracy at the time, the elites are living quite bored lives because there's not much to do, I guess, besides like balls and stuff like that. So they're developing interest in like otherworldly things and things that might be less regular. And the occult is one of them. And Rasputin coming in, he's 6'3" tall.
Wow.
He's incredibly physically imposing. He's like a goth version of Henry V. He has long, dark hair, a long flowing beard. He's got this mystery around him. He's got this slightly slender physique and build, and this troubling stare that makes him look like almost evil and demonic, which fits him with this love for the occult that the elites have in the Russian Empire at the time. He's dressed like head to toe in black robes, and he's been traveling around the country as a pilgrim.
Like
so
a wizard.
He stinks, and his teeth are like rotted. They're basically apparently he has black teeth. So you can imagine the sort of aura that like emanates off him when he walks into these saloons and pubs and meets these like very posh, very like rich aristocrats, and they're seeing this guy. They must be like, wow, I've never seen something like him. And that must fascinate them.
And we mentioned at the beginning that like a lot of the things we talk about with Rasputin might not be real. It's hard to tell. It's always but like this is true. Like he does go into these places in St. Petersburg and does like that is fact. This guy did exist, and in his kind of weird ass ways with the jacket and the beard and everything, and he is meeting the top people of Russia. The aristocracy, and it's just. Even if some of the other things are a bit played up for myth and drama, it's like this is actually true.
It's so interesting.
This guy did somehow make it from like the crazy poor areas of Siberia to suddenly mixing, despite stinking in these like
apparently of goat. Stinks of goat, yeah.
Yeah, and these like saloons and stuff with like the very, very top of the Russian elite. Like that's bizarre in and of itself.
And apparently he's also got a fucking enormous cock. It's pickled in a museum. I've seen a picture of it.
Oh, that's right,
It looks
isn't
like
it?
a fucking elephant trunk.
What other cocks do we have? We don't have Hitler's because he burned himself. Have we got Napoleon's? No, we've got Bull.
Napoleon's bull.
Was that it? We must have more genitals from these world leaders because I feel like there's another famous
They'll no
one.
doubt hang mine up one day.
Yours?
Straight girth.
How will they find it? It's so small. Where are they finding that?
On that note, let's call part 1 here.
Oh.
Thank you very much for listening to the podcast so far. We hope you've enjoyed this brief tour into Rasputin, and we'll catch you again next time for more about his crazy life. Bye-bye.
Bye.